So you can try this at home. Let's all start on modal voice going, and then lower your pitch down until your voice starts to creak. It may help if you start to sort of run out of air a little bit. Now I'm Elmo thought. So what is uptalk or upspeak? It's going up at the end of a sentence, going up with your pitch using a rising tone. Hi, my name is Eric. Linguists call this high rising terminal.
So you're going up, it's rising, it's high, and it's at the end, so it's terminal.
At the end of a sentence. So these two vocal behaviors, Fry and Uptalk, come in for a lot of criticism. So what do people complain about? Well, they complain that Fry and Uptalk both.
Okay, I'm going to try show you another two girls, if I can find it, using Uptalk. Two women using Uptalk. Now, they're trying to sell things. I can't find it now. Okay, maybe you'll hear it with that. There's a famous video of two girls speaking with Uptalk, and I can't find it now as usual. And I'll try this and see what it is.
For an example, you know how when you're at Starbucks and Amanda, and it's not because I don't know my name, but it's just the way I talk. So it's almost like a polite way of talking. Another example of uptalk is when someone's giving directions, which we had in our study. So someone could say something like, okay, so we start at the college, you keep going towards the grocery store.
You start at the college and you're blah, 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 going up like this, okay? It's not the best example. I'll try find another better example later. So, I should say, yes. These are the assumptions about people who use vocal fry and uptalk, okay? So he's going to mention some stereotypes.
Behaviors, Fry and Uptalk, come in for a lot of criticism. So what do people complain about? Well, they complain that Fry and Uptalk both can make you sound less intelligent, less sure of yourself,
less confident in yourself, insecure.
Trustworthy.
So trustworthy means that you can trust the person. This person deserves to be, for your confidence to be in them, okay?
Less competent.
Less competent, so not efficient at their job.
Less educated.
Less educated, so they're maybe they didn't go to university, for example.
Even less attractive. Vocal fry is sometimes claimed to damage your voice, in fact. One thing it's hard not to notice is that most of the time when people are complaining about vocal fry...
Who do you think uses it? Who do you think uses vocal fry and uptalk?
Young people?
Yeah, typically young people. And which sex? Which sex? Men or women? Yeah, typically women you would have heard. Yeah, typically women do it in the past. Now I would say it's both groups. It originated, I think, if I remember correctly, in Southern California with girls. Now, teenage girls. Now, if you look back at movies from, I don't know, the late 90s or early 90s, maybe you would have heard young girls from California using this. Now, maybe you don't know this in linguistics, but typically women are the people who experiment with different forms of the language more than men. And then after a period of time, men adopt the changes and start using it. But women seem to be more experimental with it than men. Now, yes, very good, very good. Okay, now, in this context, would you say that women are treated better than men in society generally? Yes or no? Do you think women have a higher status than men usually? Yes or no? No, they don't. No, they don't.
Status.
A higher status in
status.
No, they don't. That's why you're paid less. Okay, so historically speaking, women are paid less than men, etc. So there seems to be a social stigma with people who use this, especially with teenage girls who use this kind of form. Now, why did I play you this video? Okay, I played you this video because of the stupid conversation we had before in the staff room. People who use Gen Z terminology, do you think people regard them as intelligent, as very educated, as sophisticated? Do you think so? No, they probably think people who speak like me are, who speak in a more formal way, etc. But why is that true? It's not true at all. It's just the way someone speaks.
And Uptalk, they're complaining about women's voices, and especially young women. And it's not just women who do this. Let's try our own experiment, shall we? Let's take one sentence, the first sentence from the Gettysburg Address. I'm going to do it with some creak in my voice. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Eliza, would you do the same?
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
So, what did you think? Do you have different associations when you hear it from a male voice 77 years ago than when you hear it from a female voice?
77 years ago.
So creaky voice actually has a linguistic function in some languages. In Danish, for example, the word hun, without any creak in your voice, means she.
So say that word. Hun. And don't have any creak. Don't do like this. But if you start introducing the creak...
But the word hun means dog. So you have to actually put that...
Now try it with the creak. Okay, I can't do it.
Creak in, and you can change the meaning of a word. In Burmese, ka means shake, and ka means attend on. You have to add.
Can you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Burmese, ka means shake, and ka means
Now, I think I can hear the difference quite clearly there. Yeah?
attend on. You have to add creaky voice, and it means something totally different, otherwise the syllable is exactly the same. The Mexican language Jalapa Mazatec actually has a three-way contrast between modal voice, creaky voice, and breathy voice. So we could take the same syllable, ya, which with that tone means tree. But if I do it with breathy voice, ya, it means he carries. And if I do it with creaky voice, ya, it means he wears.
So, yeah, it's amazing. It's really, I'm interested in linguistics, and I think it's interesting that this thing does make a difference. Okay?
Same syllable. So, if creak is a linguistic feature of some languages, you're doing it all day long. It can't be damaging for your voice. I think we can put that one to bed.
Okay, so some people say, oh, if you speak like this, okay, you're going to cause problems for your vocal cords. But some languages use it, so obviously that cannot be the case. Okay, flick on the light. What I want you to get from this is some people have a stereotype about certain types of language. Like, I could give you a text that you might find very non-standard in English terms, and you go, like, for example, he my doctor. What's that mean? He my doctor. He is my doctor. What did I remove? Is. There are some dialects of, for example, Black English in the United States that use that non-standard form. And Irish English uses non-standard forms. Like, for example, what's the Irish present perfect? How would Irish people say, I have just left? I have just left, like the room. They will say things like, I am just after leaving. I am just after, and then ing. Now, some people say, oh, that's not standard. Why do you teach that, Andrew? I don't think that you should be thinking of language as right and wrong. I think you should think of it more like appropriate and inappropriate. If you're speaking to non-native speakers, I think it's a bit stupid for you to start using really terms that are full of slang or non-standard, because the person you're speaking to doesn't understand you. So if you want to communicate well, sometimes you will have to change the way you speak. I'm sure in your languages, when you're speaking to your grandmother or whoever, you don't speak in the same way as to a kid. And you don't do this if you were speaking to the president of your country or prime minister of your country or whatever, or the king or whatever. You don't speak in the same way as you do to your best friend down at the pub. So it's appropriate and inappropriate is what I want you to get. If you hear people complaining about Gen Z, it's probably because they're old and they don't understand the terminology, like me. I probably in my head go, that's ridiculous. And I know because in the staff room, people say, that's ridiculous. But if you look at Jan and Coco, they go, yeah, it's normal. And in the future, they'll do the same what I do. And I say, oh, that's ridiculous. Okay, why do I have to learn this rubbish? It depends on your age. If you're someone like Roberto, you'll probably be speaking in a different kind of way than someone like, I was going to say Petrini, but Petrini's in my group there. Someone like Nicholas, okay? All right, so again, I don't want you to have a stereotype that that's good or bad or correct or incorrect. I want you to think appropriate and inappropriate. Okay, go back to your seats. Oh, actually, do not go back to your seats. Could you please tell me, can you remember any Australian weather vocabulary? Again? Heat wave. Oh, he probably has to go to the toilet, the poor fellow. Okay, it's about 5 or 6 times a class. Okay, right. Okay, showers. So yes, yeah. Again?
Showers.
What kind of what are showers? Yeah, you could have scattered showers or what? What are scattered showers? Patchy showers. So they're here, they're whatever. What's the opposite when it's? There's again widespread. Okay, what are other words for rain? Down. Thunder. Well, yeah, thunderstorms. Downpours, etc. What's the when the cloud? What? Outbreaks. Okay, so outbreaks of rain. What's another way of saying a hurricane? Cyclone. What other expressions would you have? What's pushing in? Pushing in a weather front or a cold front or whatever, etc. Anything else? What types of wind could you have? Gusts of wind, it's gusty. Breezy or breeze, etc. And you might hear blustery. Okay, so when you asked me at the start of the week, I think it was Carla, said, okay, I want hot weather. And the hottest place I could think of that speaks English is bloody Australia. And we found that on the Australian weather forecast, it's basically as miserable as Ireland, okay? So we're going to, well, yes, 20 degrees of difference, in fairness. All right, so you're going to look at the, it's their summer, by the way, so remember. Okay, so remember, remember. Can you watch Miriam here giving us the disastrous news, blah, 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 about the weather in Australia, wherever it is. Where did I put it? Okay, so this is the Bureau of Meteorology in Australia, and we'll do the last 5 hours ago. 5 hours ago. Okay, so this is the national.
Hello, Miriam at the Bureau with your
So everyone, it's Miriam at the Bureau. Could you please say hello to Miriam?
Hello, Miriam.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and a big smile for Miriam.
Hello, Miriam at the Bureau with your national weather forecast for tomorrow, the first official day of autumn, Saturday, the 1st of March. But we will also take a quick look at Sunday as well. Now, tomorrow's weather map shows us a strong ridge of high pressure, except...
Okay, you probably don't know the word ridge, I would guess. Do you? Okay, so a ridge is like this, okay? So let's say, it's a bit hard to show you, but I'm not very good at it. So here's a mountain, and here's another mountain, okay? And then sometimes you will have a little piece here that's very thin, and you could possibly walk across it. That's called a ridge, okay? You understand that? Now, in this case, it's sort of like a divide between this and this, whatever it is, okay? So you have one thing on this side, and then another thing on the other side, Okay, so a ridge of high pressure. So there's a divide between two pressure zones. Okay.
Extending across southerly as well. Now tomorrow's weather map shows us a strong ridge of high pressure extending across southern parts of Australia with generally settled conditions.
What's settled mean again? Doesn't change. What's the Irish weather? What word would you use? Unsettled, yeah.
Moving across those southern states. We do have mostly dry conditions as well, but a few showers on the way for the southeast as a cold front starts to approach.
Now again, you see, this should become very obvious. It's so predictable, okay? Cold front, showers.
Elsewhere, our low pressure troughs through the north and
What's that word mean again? Now, if for those of you who don't know that, I put it in, yeah, exactly. If you look in the documents for the class, I've put two pictures of this on 2 consecutive days where trough is like a dip. And the pronunciation is what again? Trough. Elsewhere, that's a good word. What does that mean? Yeah, in other places, somewhere else.
parts of the west and east are continuing to generate isolated thunderstorms for some, and they're also holding a lot of heat in place across the continent, so those heat waves are continuing to build.
There, what word? Heat waves, okay?
Severe tropical cyclone
There's cyclone.
Alfred is also continuing to sit off the Queensland coast and developing into a very windy system, generating some dangerous surf and swell as well.
Okay, now maybe you don't know that, but you can probably guess. Where do you think that is? Dangerous surf and swell. Where would it be? Where would you expect? Yeah, why? Why did you expect that?
Strong the waves.
Surfing, exactly. Dangerous surf and swell. So out at sea is going to cause a few problems with the waves and things like that.
Let's take a state-by-state look around the country now, starting with Queensland.
Now in Ireland you wouldn't say state-by-state look. What would you say? County by county, okay? And in some countries you would say, like Brazil, you would say state by state, Mexico you would say state by state, and United States, etc.
And he is counting by county?
County by county, okay? I suppose you could say province by province, but it's more common you'd say county by county look. That's it.
This is French.
Which? No, it's quite neutral word, okay? Neutral expression.
Surf and swell as well. Let's take a state-by-state look around the country now.
Now, can you remember the names of the states? Queensland, what else? New South Wales, what else? Victoria, what else? Southern Australia, South Australia, what else? Western Australia and the Northern Territories as well. You see, and what was the little island at the bottom called? Tasmania. Now, just knowing those helps you understand what they're saying.
Now, starting with Queensland. For Queensland, it will be a warm to hot day, dry and mostly sunny, apart from a few isolated showers through the southeast. Our main weather...
What word very often collocates with showers? Isolated. You kept hearing the word isolated, even in Ireland, when we had the weather from Ireland last week.
Dry and mostly sunny, apart from a few isolated showers through the southeast. Our main weather impacts, however, will be tied to severe tropical cyclone Alfred, sitting off the coast and generating strong winds and large seas and swell, pushing up the southeast and central coasts of Queensland. We are seeing strong to
gale force winds, okay? Gale force, I told you. You told me, actually, to be honest. So very, very windy, okay?
Winds, coastal erosion hazards and hazardous surf all coming into play through those coastal areas. Now we do have a dedicated severe weather update video current for severe tropical cyclone Alfred, so you can find all the cyclone details in that other video. For Brisbane tomorrow, we're heading for a partly cloudy top of 50.
We're heading for? What does that mean? We're approaching, yeah, we're going to. For Brisbane tomorrow, we're heading for a partly cloudy top of 31 degrees Celsius. This is what we're going to have in the future.
31 degrees. Morning fogs through eastern New South Wales.
What's fog? Yeah, you can't see exactly.
Tomorrow clearing to a mostly sunny day, warm as well across the state. We are looking at the chance of an isolated thunderstorm or two about the central and northern ranges.
Thunderstorm again.
As well as through the far west, but very little rainfall is expected.
Rainfall? The amount of rain that falls. Okay,
tomorrow. For Sydney, we're heading for a partly cloudy day with a top of 29 degrees, 34 degrees down in Canberra.
What's the capital city of Australia called? No, Canberra. Okay, so if you hear the expression ACT, it's Australian Capital Territory. Okay.
Partly cloudy through southern parts of Victoria tomorrow, warm and mostly...
I should say as well, the reason Canberra is the capital city and it's a tiny little city there compared to Melbourne and Sydney is because Melbourne and Sydney couldn't agree what should be the capital city. So they compromised and put it there. Okay.
Sunny in the north. We may see an isolated shower or two through parts of southeast Gippsland through the course of tomorrow morning. For Melbourne, though, it will be dry, mostly sunny with a top of 25 degrees. Tasmania tomorrow can expect mostly cloudy conditions and a few isolated showers through the west and south, drier and sunnier through the northeast. For Hobart, we're looking at a partly cloudy day with a top of 23 degrees. In South Australia tomorrow, morning fogs through parts of the southeast, then mostly sunny skies. We do have the chance of a thunderstorm or two about the Flinders district, southern parts of the pastoral districts and parts of the Eyre Peninsula, but they're unlikely to deliver any rainfall totals if they get going. For Adelaide, we're heading for a sunny top of 27 degrees. For Western Australia tomorrow, it should be settled
again.
Mostly sunny through southwestern parts of the state after a few early morning fogs. For Perth, we are looking at a sunny day with a top of 31 degrees.
Very similar to Cork.
It will be more unsettled and hotter further north though. We've got that chance of thunderstorms once again from the Gascoyne pushing down into the goldfields, although little rainfall is expected. Those severe to locally intense heat waves continue, particularly through parts of the Gascoyne, Pilbara, parts of the Kimberley and interior districts as well as that heat continues. For the Northern Territory tomorrow, it will be dry and mostly sunny through most parts. Certainly central and inland parts of the state are looking at very hot conditions. We may see an isolated shower or thunderstorm about the northern and western top end coasts, however, but less likely than in previous days. For Darwin, we're heading for a partly cloudy to mostly sunny day tomorrow and a top of 34 degrees. Now, a quick look ahead at Sunday. Sunday will, broadly speaking, be a hot and dry day across Australia. Certainly those heat waves continuing through northern and northwestern parts of the country. Our low pressure troughs will continue to generate some isolated storms about the west coast and in the east. In fact, we may see severe thunderstorms impacting parts of eastern and southeastern New South Wales on Sunday, with the risk of heavy rainfall, damaging winds and large hail. Otherwise, just a few isolated showers through the southeast and about southeast Queensland, where severe tropical cyclone Alfred will continue to generate strong winds and large waves. You can find the detailed weekend forecasts for your area via the Bureau's website, the Bomb Weather app and via our social media. Have a great weekend and we'll catch you next time.
Okay, thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you, Miriam. Click on the light there, Robert. Okay, so again, I'm not doing this again. It becomes so repetitive and boring. How many of you were super excited by the Australian weather forecast?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Exactly. Well, to be honest, I'm not, and I'm sure you're not. It's because you already know it. And how do you know it? How many of you studied it? How many of you studied the vocabulary? None of you. It was just repetitive. If you do it often enough, it becomes easy. And I know, like some people, like Seamus told me about, I'm the assistant director, so he tells me about what students in all the classes request. Now, he doesn't tell me individual students, but he'll tell me what they request. And they'll request things like, oh, can this teacher do more writing or more speaking or more listening or whatever, etc. And I know some of the students want more listening practice, etc. But this is listening. And it becomes so repetitive if you choose the correct forms that you're going to listen to all the time. Now, I know you might say, oh, Andrew, I don't really listen to the weather forecast in Ireland or in Australia. And that's probably true. But you choose the things that you listen to, but do it often enough and pick out vocabulary, and you'll find out that it becomes extremely predictable, and that's listening practice. I'm trying to give you techniques. I cannot choose a topic that all of you like. Tell me one topic that all of you would really love to listen to. One topic.
No, it's difficult because...
It's difficult. Can you think of one?
I suppose general...
What? What do you like to talk about, or like to listen to, or speak about, or whatever? Write about? What you like?
Food.
I guarantee there will be people in the class or in my other class and go, oh, jeez, we do this in all the other classes. Why do we have to talk about food again? And it'll be like that. It'll be like the weather forecast. Could you give me another thing? I can think of two things, and one of them sometimes some people don't like to talk about.
Meditation.
Meditation. Buddhist meditation. Do you think, Tachi? No. Yes. Yeah. I would like to talk about it, but I guarantee you, Tachi, you will find that lots of people do not want to talk about meditation. They might. I'm not joking. I in a previous course I did meditation. At the start of the class, we did meditation. They also did exercise videos, which they hated. But we did it, and some people enjoyed it, and some people did not enjoy it. But can you give me one topic that everyone likes?
Paranormal stories.
No chance. No chance. Everyone likes to talk about paranormal stories. I don't. Do you all like to talk about paranormal stories? Do you? I've no interest in it. Carla doesn't. Okay, can you give me one? I can think of one that everyone likes to talk about.
Music.
One. No. I guarantee you'll find people who will get bored. Hobbies? No.
Movies.
No, I guarantee you, no. I'll tell you what it is, in my opinion. Yourself. You like to talk about yourself. You like to talk about the movies that you like. You don't like really to talk about, you could not sit there and listen for 3 hours about somebody else's movies. You like talking about what you like. You like talking about your meditation and how it affects your life. You like talking about the weather in your country, or the food in your country, or the food that you like. If I started talking about, okay now, today we're going to talk about Irish stew. Irish stew for 3 hours. 3 hours, you would be, oh for God's sake, Irish cuisine. It's just fish and chips. Okay, so that's the only thing. That is the only thing that I think everyone likes talking about. And some people say, no, I don't really like talking about it. And then the other thing is relationships. But no, well, it could be Tanya. Okay, but lots of people gossip about relationships. And then some, actually, to be honest, that's a good point. I think most people like gossip. What gossip? What gossip?
Somebody else's life.
Yeah, but someone you know. It's not someone, okay, now I know someone who lives in Wexford and they're doing well, okay, who cares? You care about the things that are personally relevant to you. So I cannot choose any topic that every single person will like. I am trying to give you techniques. So if you're learning vocabulary, or you're learning grammar, or you're trying to listen and improve your listening skills, or your writing skills, or your reading skills, or whatever, you can use those techniques in the areas that you like. I don't expect anyone here to sit down and watch the weather forecast every single day. But if there's something that is important for you, and you think it is important for your future in English, do something like that. Repeat it maybe 5 days. Pick out the relevant vocabulary and see how often the things are repeated. If you do meditation and you listen to people doing meditation videos, they're going to say very similar things very often. Take those words out and it will become easy. You'll go, oh yeah, I know what that word is. And you will not have to study. You will just have to be exposed to it. I am going to do this activity again with you, not this activity. I did in the previous course. I can do it now because the weather is getting a bit better, even though I know some of you think, oh, it's freezing. You will be sent out of the school. I am going to send you out of the school for one half class. I think maybe I did it with one of you. I did it with you. Okay. In the previous course, what I do is I'll ask you to go on a route that you typically go. Like, for example, I know where Petrini lives. Petrini lives very close to the school. So she lives close to Belvedere College. And she, yes? Great, yes. I know where you live. I know where you all live. I know where she lives. And I know where she almost stole my car. Okay? So if let's say for example you're Carl and you're down at the end of the the Lewis line, and you're coming to school. Well, you're going to see a lot of English from the end of the Lewis line all the way to the stop where she gets off or whatever, and comes up to Gardner Street all the way up to this school. And you're going to see lots of English, and you're going to miss it every day. Every day you're going to see on the Lewis lots of English. You'll also see Irish, but you'll see English. You'll see signs on the shops, even the names of the shops. You'll see it on the road. You'll see it on advertising billboards, and you miss it every day, and it's free. And the reason it would be useful for you is because you don't have to study it. You just have to open your eyes. I'm going to force you to go through the city one of the days for the first half of the class, and you're going to come back with about 15 words or expressions that you don't know. And to be honest, I can guess a lot of the expressions, because when I send people out, and I do this in every course, when I send people out, they almost always come back with the very similar expressions. And it's amazing that they don't see these things every day and go, what's that? They don't know them. When you go into the supermarket, you miss a lot of vocabulary.
Yes.
And it's, how often do you go in the supermarket?
Every week.
Every week? I would say a lot of you go in at least 2 times a week. Yeah? 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe more. Like, for example, when I used to walk into work instead of take the bike, I would go into the Lidl nearly every morning and buy a bottle of water before I had that thing. Nearly every morning. And if I walked in down the, what do you call the corridors in the supermarket? You know?
What?
Aisle. The corridors in the supermarkets are called aisles. Can you tell me how you spell that word?
A-I-S-L-E.
Very good there. The way Petrini said that, A-I-S-L-E. A bit slow, a bit creaky voice there, creaky voice. Okay, now, now what kind of aisles do you have?
What's the difference between aisles and corridor?
A corridor would be something like in the schools, for example. An aisle you can have in certain places. Where do you have
The
aisles?
church.
The church. If you hear somebody say, "Oh, we walked down the aisle a couple of weeks ago," what's that mean?
They got married.
They got married. They got married. Exactly. Or maybe, for example, Roberto brought his granddaughter down the aisle. Okay, you understand? There he is. Okay, probably Roberto. There he was.
Very soon.
There he is. And then he gives his granddaughter away to whoever, etc., etc. Okay. So, where else do you have an aisle? You should. There's another place which is very common. Which? Again? The plane. Libraries will have aisles as well. What you generally think of as aisles is it doesn't really have a cover like where it's like a corridor where there's a ceiling. Now, of course, there's a ceiling, but there's a space between the ceiling and the top of something. So maybe like the bookshelves in the library, there's a space between that and the top of the ceiling or whatever. Okay, so that's what an aisle is. But when you go down the aisles, there's lots and lots of vocabulary. Even the names of the aisles you miss. What's poultry? What's poultry?
It's about the pork.
No. Spanish speakers should definitely know this, or Portuguese speakers should know it. Italian speakers should know it. Poultry. French speakers. What would you expect it is then?
Is where pollo.
Yes, what would you expect it is in this? Chickens and turkeys and duck. Okay? Poultry. Okay, what's the word in Portuguese for chicken? And hen? Oh, it'd be something like gallina or something like that. Okay? Galinha. Okay.
Pollo.
Is there a word in Portuguese to talk about all those kind of birds? No, well that's birds, all birds.
No,
Is
but
it?
in the market, yeah.
Okay, so you only use that word.
Yeah.
Is it? I'd be surprised if there's no connection at all, but maybe there isn't. Italian? Again? Okay, so you have P-O, okay, P-O-L. Okay, this is related to poultry. What do you call the aisle where you sell milk and butter and cream and things like that? What kind of products are there? No, we do not say lactic products or anything like that. It begins with D. Again, yes. Dairy, not daily, dairy. So if you see dairy products, it's talking about milk products. And it's amazing, you see it every day when you go in the supermarket and you don't remember it or you don't notice it. I'm going to force you to notice. I'm going to ask you to go in and go around these places and try to extract some vocabulary that is useful for you. I do it slightly differently for the elementary class. If I teach elementary students, I will give them a list of things that they will probably use every week in the supermarket, and they'll go around and find advanced vocabulary for an elementary student. Bleach. What's bleach? Yeah, for clean. But you wouldn't learn it usually in an elementary class. Usually you don't learn the word bleach until you're upper intermediate level. So I'd expect that Tachi would know, but I wouldn't expect an elementary student to know. But why not? It's the kind of thing that they use every week or very often. So they should probably know it. You do not need to you don't need to worry about advanced vocabulary and lower level vocabulary so much. It's not the same as grammar. Okay, vocabulary learning is not the same as grammar learning. Yet when you're learning grammar, you do have to take a sequence, it seems. Okay, you don't go, okay, the first day I'm going to learn very, very easy grammar, and the next day I'm going to learn advanced grammar, because you probably not be able to process it in your brain. There does seem to be a developmental sequence about grammar learning in all languages, but vocabulary learning. Like, who cares if you learn the word for this on the first day or the 51st day? It doesn't make any difference, it's just a word. Some words might be easier to pronounce, but they're not more difficult concepts and such. So I have no problems elementary students learning words like bleach on the first day if they want to learn that, etc. There are some tricks that you can learn. What is fasting again? Fasting. Not eating. Now, you could learn that on the first day. How could you learn the word fasting on the first day? Breakfast. If you're clever about learning vocabulary, you will learn that the word breakfast contains two words, break and fast. And if you're very clever, you might say, oh, that's very similar to Spanish. What is the Spanish word for breakfast? Yes, and did you notice the way Roberto pronounced it? Do it again. Okay, so for those of you who don't speak Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish, the Portuguese speakers and Italian speakers in this class, if you got the text, would understand it better than me. Break it up. This is the Spanish word for breakfast, if you can see. There it is, the Spanish word for breakfast. And this is can be formulated into a verb form, and there's the verb for to fast in Spanish. Now, when would you expect a non-native speaker learning Spanish to learn the word for fast. When would you expect me to learn that? When? In elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, advanced, upper intermediate, proficiency? When? Intermediate. Would you? Would you expect to learn the word fast again? Maybe. But you wouldn't expect it at elementary or beginner, would you? Well, I did. And I'm not a genius. All you have to do is notice patterns with vocabulary. You will get words for free. Okay? I guarantee you're going to see products. Here, does anyone know what this is? Ever seen that word before? What is it? Nappies, diapers, yeah. What's it mean? Now, to be honest, I was a bit surprised. Well, I shouldn't have been surprised. When I asked, what does Pampers mean? The first person to say something was Roberto. Here it is. This man. Yes, all for babies, yes. Yeah. We saw you going to the toilet earlier. Okay? You were adjusting it there, etc. Now, what does this mean?
Diaper.
No, it's not. To pamper yourself. Anyone know what that means?
To clean, to
Not to clean, no, it's much nicer than that. To pamper yourself. It means to give yourself luxury. To give yourself comfort and luxury. Pamper yourself. Like, how could you pamper yourself? What would you do if you're pampering yourself? How could you pamper yourself? Give yourself luxury. How? Give me some examples. Maybe you could get a massage, for example. Maybe you could go to the spa. Yeah, maybe you could go on a spa day, etc. Maybe you could go to the finest. Exactly. What a fantastic suggestion, everyone. I asked, how could you pamper yourself? Samuel, could you please, everyone listen to Samuel's answer? What would you say?
Go to a luxury hotel in Italy.
Go to a luxury hotel in Italy. Yes, and how could it be a much nicer experience? Free! Yes, free! A free experience in a luxury hotel in Italy. Now, why do you think that product then is called Pampers?
Because he's a luxury for the
Yeah. Like you can just imagine Roberto. There he is. He's walking around. Doesn't matter. Keep going. Enjoy your day. Luxury. Okay, so what I want you to do is start noticing obvious things. Vocabulary is actually easier in this context than grammar. Okay? All right, after the break, you're going to do some other work with health-related issues. Unfortunately, you're going to listen to someone, Dr. Fernando was trying to expose this document earlier. You're going to listen to someone who has a medical issue. Okay? And then you are going to have medical issues and you're going to explain those symptoms to Dr. Fernanda, and Dr. Fernanda is going to diagnose your problems. Okay? Now, she knows how to diagnose it in Portuguese, but she's probably going to have a few problems diagnosing it in English, but she will be able to translate. But you are going to have problems, and you're going to explain your problems to a real doctor, okay? To a real doctor, and she's going to try guess what problem you have, okay? All right, that's the end of the first half of the class. What a disgrace, this woman! Okay, wipe that off. Castleform's greatest student.